Good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. We've got about 30 days left till college football finally kicks off. Looking really forward to the season starting soon. I'm going to be going over my top 10 list of preseason rankings. So let's go ahead and just jump into it, guys. Looking at what happened last year, you know, I've got right now I've got Tennessee sitting at the number 10 spot. The Vols had really shown some real excitement last year and some real flair, some potential under Josh Heupel. They have an offense that some might call a little bit gimmicky, but I mean, it puts points on the board, and that really matters a lot, especially whenever that, in my opinion, that program has struggled over the past few years trying to find a new identity, trying to kind of get rid of the old problems they have, which continue to seem to pop up. I think Josh Heupel's doing a really good job of moving that program in the right direction. They gave a lot of teams a fit last year. I think Hendon Hooker was a good quarterback, but I also think with the program that they're running, the type of style of offense that they're running, that you can take any competent quarterback and still do a really good job there. So I think it's going to be just fine. I think they're fine at the 10 spot. They do have one of the tougher schedules in college football. They have to play both Georgia and Alabama, and they're also breaking in a new starter quarterback. We'll see how that goes. I think it's going to be fine, though. I think they're still going to do really well, but I also think that whenever they line up against somebody like a Georgia or an LSU or even an Ohio State or anybody like that, I think it's going to be difficult. I think they're going to struggle. So, but we'll see how that happens. Coming in at number 9 is FSU. This team's really been on the rise. They're starting to do much better in the recruiting. But you know, there's a lot to be said for where is this program going? What is it going to do? They could easily, in my opinion, win the the ACC, but we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. They could turn this thing around and beat Clemson. We'll find out what we've really got in that team. I'm high on FSU this year. I think they're doing really well. I think they're going to do extraordinarily well. Try to get that program back relevant again. Past couple of years, they've really past decade or so, actually, they've been just not great. Coming in at number 8, we just talked about him a little bit. Clemson. Cade Klubnik will be better this year. He was not exactly what Clemson fans were hoping for last year, but this year he's looking to be much better. I think he's going to be just fine. He's going to be a little more comfortable. Clemson as a whole may have slidden back a little bit since their championship runs they were having, but I think they're going to be fine. I really do. This should be an opportunity for them to show that they haven't backslidden, but we'll know more around week 4 when they play FSU. They got to do better on the recruiting trail, though, in my opinion. Okay, this is going to be controversial. I know there's going to be people that's going to say, hey, you're just hating on this team because this team is who they are. Guys, it has nothing to do with the team. It has to do with an honest analysis of what I see from these guys. And I got to be honest with you, man, it is not what we're used to seeing out of, Alabama. Alabama is a team that we're used to seeing come with a lot of firepower, a great defense, championship contender every year. And last year, yeah, I get it, 11-2. But it was the games that mattered, and there were several games that they really could have or even should have lost. So Alabama struggled last year with Texas. We're going to talk about Texas some more here in a minute, but they struggled with Texas last year. They barely won that game, and I really feel like losing Bryce Young is one of the things that knocks them down out of that top 5. You know, they change out their offensive coordinator. They change out. They get a brand new quarterback out of Notre Dame. Both, by the way, the offensive coordinator comes out of Notre Dame as well. And they're trying to turn this program around. Now they didn't go out right at the end of the season and go get a transfer quarterback. It wasn't until actually after their spring game they went and got a transfer quarterback, which is pretty telling as to where that program was sitting at that point, or at least what Nick Saban thought it was. Nick Saban's trying to get it back on the right track. Unfortunately, they lose their best running back in Jamar Gibbs. This guy was fun to watch. Really enjoyed watching him. They do get McClellan back. And McClellan was actually a big part of their run game last year, believe it or not. So we're looking to see how that goes. They still have Jermaine Burton transfer from Georgia a couple of years. His production actually went down from when he left Georgia, which you thought it would have went up with a Heisman quarterback like Bryce Young, but unfortunately it did not. And the big reason why this offense, this program is sitting at number 7 on my list is because the firepower that I'm used to seeing a Waddle or a Ruggs, you just don't see that. That's not there right now. Now, I'm not saying he can't get it back. I'm just saying it's not there right now. And until they get that turned around, I don't really see a reason to put a whole lot of stock in pushing Bama up to the number 1 or number 2 spot. I just don't see it. So for now, they're at number 7. If they don't get this sorted out pretty quickly, they could end up with one of the worst seasons they've had in a decade. We're going to learn a whole lot about this team in week 2 when they play Texas. Now, that brings me to the number 6 spot, Texas. Quinn Ewers is going to be much better than he was last year. This guy was looking to be an elite talent right out of the gate, but he didn't really get settled the way he wanted to. Fortunately, they had Bijan Robinson to back him up. Bijan has went to the NFL, so he's no longer around. Bijan was one of my favorite players to watch play last year, a really dynamic running back. He is going to be replaced with Roschon Johnson. Roschon Johnson is just as effective. He didn't get as many carries, but for the carries that he got a lot of yardage. He was right there statistically, yard per carry with Bijan Robinson. So I look for him to kind of plug and play, fill in that role. They also return all of their top receivers. So there's going to be more cohesion between the quarterback position and that receiver room. The running back position is really not going to fall back off. They return a ton of talent and they continue to recruit on an elite level. I think there's going to be some animosity, some chips on some shoulders from last year. I think Texas has got week 2 circled in a big way, and it's not because they're afraid. I think this is going to be a game where if Alabama's not careful, they could really get their feelings hurt here. So that's in Texas coming in at number 6. Number 5, Penn State. They have a brand new quarterback, Drew Allar. Not sure how you pronounce that name, but that's okay. Penn State, they're not known for being a high-flying, high gunslinging offense. That's not really what they're known for. They do have a beast of a running back in Nicholas Singleton. He returns. Team is likely to have the second best defense in the Big Ten. It's also possible that they may have a top 5 or 6 defense in the country. Penn State, their schedule was pretty soft up until about week 7 when they play Ohio State, and we're going to learn a lot then. But they had Ohio State on the ropes at one point. It wasn't until late in the fourth quarter where they went into the fourth quarter. Ohio State was winning. Penn State takes the lead, and then Ohio State had to rally. Fortunately, under the expert marksmanship of CJ Stroud, they were able to hang 28 points in the fourth quarter in that game, so they were able to win it. But they've got a lot returning there, and that defense is going to keep them in a lot of games. I would not be surprised if Penn State beats the number 4 Ohio State on my list. And Ohio State University, let's be honest, they nearly won the national championship. Had they have beaten Georgia, had we have shanked that kick, had they have made an earlier kick, they very, very likely would have destroyed TCU in a very similar manner as to what UGA did. So I think Ohio State knows that. Unfortunately, they do lose an absolute incredible quarterback in CJ Stroud. He's gone to the NFL and he should be there. He's an NFL caliber quarterback. They changed the offensive coordinator, I believe, but they do return 13 starters. I think it's 6 on the offense, 7 on the defense, or vice versa, but it's very close. They don't have a lot of experience with their quarterback, Kyle McCord. He only threw the ball 20 times last year. So they really have a soft schedule up until about week 4 where they play Notre Dame. So they have time to get ready. They'll play Penn State later and they're in with Michigan. But in the meantime, this Ohio State has a lot of components that come back that are really strong. Their offensive line is going to be good. Defensive line is going to be good. They're going to have a lot to offer, and that's going to be a great game to watch week 4. Week 2 game is going to be Alabama, Texas. The week 4 game is definitely going to be Penn State, Ohio State. So I'm looking forward to that game as well. Now, That bumps me up to the number 3 position, Michigan. Michigan should also be very solid. You know, they have a few issues to deal with, but last year they had the top defense in the Big Ten. They also have back-to-back playoff appearances. One where they lost to Georgia and one where they lost to TCU. But I do want to point out that TCU game, I don't really feel like it was TCU beating Michigan. I feel like it was Michigan beating Michigan, especially with the turnover problems they had. So you got to play ball. I get it, but I still feel like Michigan would have given Georgia a much better fight than TCU did. I don't think anybody disputes that, but I think that there is a lot to be said for that Michigan offense and defense. If they can just kind of hold the errors at bay, I feel like this could be a team that could absolutely get it done. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. Now, you may be saying to yourself, well, he's named all the good teams already. Who's left? I mean, I don't really know who he could have at I know one of the teams he's got at 1 and 2, but I don't know what the other team is. Well, I'm kind of big on LSU. I've got LSU at the number 2 spot. I think this team looks really good. They have made a tremendous improvement since bringing on Brian Kelly. They have a ton of returning players. They have the best linebacker in the league, probably in Perkins. There's 4- and 5-star talent all over the field. If you don't realize how good they've been recruiting over the past several years, you need to go take a look because it'll surprise you. They have a lot of blue chip players. They beat Alabama last year. And they beat Alabama when Alabama was better than they're going to be this year. And I think that Brian Kelly, like most coaches in their second year, is going to take a step forward. I think that step forward is going to come in a much more moving like a well-oiled machine. Keep in mind, this team last year hung 30 points on Georgia, which was no easy feat. This was a team last year that gave Georgia a fight for quite a while. So a lot of talent over there. If they beat Bama, that's going to give them a ton of momentum. And by the way, they play Alabama right after Alabama plays Tennessee. So it's going to be interesting to see if Bama is a little bit beat up or if they lose that game, how do they respond? It's going to be very interesting. So I've got LSU at number 2. Again, this is preseason, guys, so take a breath. I've got LSU at number 2. I really think that this team you could be seeing another matchup between UGA and LSU in the SEC championship. So now on to number 1, no big surprise here. UGA at number 1, and it's not because UGA just won 2 back-to-back national titles. It's not that. What I look at is who are your returning players. Where are they positioned at? You know, how many starters do you have coming back? What's your offense going to look like? Are the players coming back important players, or are they just like a placeholder on a special team somewhere? No, what you're looking at is 13 starters, most of the offense and the defense. So they lose Stetson Bennett, yes, but a lot of UGA fans wanted Stetson Bennett to go away last year anyway. And if you watched, he's going to be likely replaced by Carson Beck. They haven't officially said that, but I think everybody that's watched the spring game knows or has watched Carson Beck knows it's Carson Beck. Carson Beck looks like an incredible step up from Stetson Bennett. He's not going to be able to run around the way Stetson was, but he likely won't have to. He is, the statuesque 6'3", 200 and something pound, NFL style quarterback that can throw the ball out of the stadium. Carson Beck's a very accurate passer. He can make every pass on the field. He can throw it. He can check it down. He can put touch on the ball. And we saw every bit of that in the spring game playing against a Georgia defense. So he looked very good in that game. Now, couple that with the fact that Brock Bowers is coming back. Probably one of the most elite and electric tight ends that college football has seen in many, many years. Rosemy Jack Saint's coming back, an elite receiver at UGA. Ladd McConkey's coming back, an elite receiver at UGA. If you don't know anything about Georgia other than we're keeping the center, the right guard, and the left guard all stay together, those guys are coming back. We also get Stackhouse back at nose tackle. But you get that center lined up and then you get Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers, and Rosemy Jack Saint. You're golden. That right there is enough to carry most teams a whole season. And there's a ton more talent than that that's going to be on this team as well. The running back room at Georgia is absolutely loaded. Georgia continues to recruit at a lot top level. And that's because when these guys come to town, they see the same things we see. They see the same things we see, and they know it's going to be that's going to be where they want to play. So that's my top 10, guys, what you're looking at. We're going to run through one more time. Tennessee 10, FSU 9, Clemson 8, Bama 7, Texas 6, Penn State 5, Ohio State 4, Michigan 3, LSU 2, UGA 1. Now, if you wanted to tell me you want to swap around FSU, Clemson, Tennessee, I wouldn't have a problem with that. If you told me you want to swap around, let's just say Texas and Bama, or Penn State and Bama, or you know, a couple here and there, hey, completely get it, guys. So, but do me a favor, leave me your top 10 down below. Tell me where I got it wrong. Tell me what you guys think. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and share. We're gonna be putting out many more videos. Wow. Take a little time off and forget how to be #professional. So there it is, guys. That's my top 10 list to get you guys started on the season. 30 days to go. We'll see you guys soon. Have a great day. God bless. Go Dogs.